Welcome back to Bravo Breaking News. We are hot off of the Tom Sandoval interview on Howie Mandel's podcast, Howie Mandel Does Stuff. So this is the first time that Tom Sandoval has officially spoken out since the Sandoval news broke, and he is mentioning it all. We think we got stuff from him during that TMZ parking lot interview. Wait till you see what he said during this. Like I said, it's the first time we're hearing from him since the news broke about the affair, and I thought we were going to have to wait for the reunion, but turns out that is not the case. So I am going to break down everything that he said, starting with his comments about his relationship with Ariana. But first, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any Bravo breaking news, and know that I will be doing a part 2 to go over what he said about Raquel, how the affair started, and what's the status of their relationship right now. Okay, so Tom Sandoval sat down with Howie Mandel and his co-host today and basically shared that he is finally coming out of the hole that he was in during the Sandoval drama. It took him kind of 6 weeks to finally be able to talk about it, and he doesn't know why it blew up as big as it has. I mean, he basically says, who am I, the royal family? No, I am a reality star.
I'm on a reality show. I mean, like, Snooki has an affair with, like, you know, whoever. It's like, is that going to be like national news?
But I think it's just the shock of it all. We were all shook when we found out about this. We thought Tom and Ariana were solid. But the story he shared today is definitely different than what we all saw on the show and thought this entire time. So he talks a lot about his relationship with Ariana, and basically all of the details are going to center around him placing the blame on her. It was really, really tough to hear him talk about this and talk about their relationship. So he starts off by saying, of course, he still loves and cares for Ariana, but for a while, they had basically been living separate lives.
We, for a while, had been sort of like just having our own lives.
He kind of says that they were more like best friends, roommates, business partners.
We built a business and, you know, we got a house together and everything. We were a brand.
But there was no intimate or romantic connection from them anymore.
The relationship was just lacking, you know, the intimacy, the connection.
However, they kind of kept the optics up that they were the perfect couple. They were this power couple. He says that their friends on the show called them mom and dad. So, you know, to the outsiders, they were still in this loving, pretty solid relationship. But he said that over the past couple years, their relationship has basically gone downhill. Their communication was terrible. They were not spending time together. They would travel separately.
We would travel more like by ourselves than we would together.
They would hang out with separate groups of friends. Even when they went out together, they would kind of go off and do their own thing with their own friends. And he also says that because of this, they were both battling a lot of anxiety and depression, and they deal with this in different ways. So when Tom is depressed or anxious, he likes to go out and party and drink and stay up all night. And the opposite for Ariana. She likes to stay home and stay in bed and kind of, you know, hide from the world.
We just sort of kept going apart.
And basically, we've heard this before, but he explains that they didn't have sex. There was no intimacy. It was more of a friendship than a relationship. And he just felt that he needed to make a change in his life. He was turning 40. He was not happy in their relationship. So he needed to make a change.
As I turned 40, I started to look at my life and it looked very bleak. I started to think my best years were behind me.
Okay, first of all, I get wanting to make a change. You're hitting a life milestone. That's only normal. However, the fact that you're doing such a drastic change behind your partner's back and not telling her is the issue here, Tom, and that isn't what he's seeing. Howie and his co-host actually asked Tom about what Tom Schwartz said on Watch What Happens Live, which is that Tom tried to break up with Ariana multiple times and even told Schwartz that's what he was doing or that's what had happened during all of this. Is that the truth? They ask him several times and he beats around the bush. He never answers the question. He finally says that, yes, he had.
Yes, I had actually.
But we learn that it was all kind of done through therapy. So we will get into the origin story of him and Raquel's hookup. But he said after that happened, he then got into couples therapy with Ariana. And they talked through their issues. And he said that he kept putting it out there. He kept, talking about hypotheticals, saying, if we were to break up, this, and that.
Hypothetically, like, if we break up, like, what would you do?
And kind of throwing out these scenarios, to which Ariana came back at him and was like, no, if you break up, my life is over.
She basically was like, well, definitely not going to the reunion. I'm quitting the show. Fuck the sandwich shop. She's supposed to open up with Katie.
I'm done. I'm moving away. Like, you will end my life if you break up with me. Which, yes, is a lot of pressure to put on Tom. But for somebody that you're with for 10 years, not to care enough about them, just to be honest. Be honest. As Katie says, be real, be real.
Just be real. Just be real. Be real.
For no reason
be
with
real.
other people.
Just tell her the truth, especially if you're in therapy, which is supposed to be a safe space. And he says that they even grew more distant. I mean, to the point where Ariana didn't even notice how distant they were. Like, they would be living their separate lives and Tom would approach her and be like, don't you notice these things? And she barely saw when he would like FaceTime with Raquel. She barely noticed.
I had to actually tell her, like, I don't, like, have you not noticed how distant I've been lately? And she's like, oh, you have?
Then when he finally got the balls to break up with her, this broke my heart because he did it on Valentine's Day.
Was that a plan?
No,
That was your plan?
I was going to say that
My plan was to break up with her in therapy.
How much of an asshole do you have to be to break up with your partner of 10 years on Valentine's Day? Does this guy have a brain? Like, who has to be stupid enough to do that? Only Tom Sandoval. So I think he attempted to do that, and afterwards he basically says she was in denial. She wouldn't accept it. And he also shares that during therapy, she actually did a full 180. She came around and was, becoming more of the person that he wanted her to be and was becoming more accepting of him and less judgmental, which is what therapy does. It's like he didn't even give therapy a chance to work. You need to work on the relationship, not just go to therapy as, an excuse to say that you tried. You have to actually try. And so it seemed like Ariana was hearing him out and actually trying to make changes. Yet that wasn't enough for him. He basically says he was already 1 foot out the door.
I just wish I was already by that point
Gone.
way gone.
It didn't matter what Ariana did in therapy. He was already done and moved on. And at that point, she again said, I'm not going to let you leave me. You're going to have to force me out of this relationship. Which, I don't know, I give props to Ariana because she was trying to save this 10-year relationship. I would do the exact same thing if I was in her position. Tom is just in this midlife crisis. He's a 40-year-old with a cover band who doesn't know what his future is. And I would try to give him the benefit of the doubt. And they were in this for the long haul. They were planning on spending the rest of their lives together. So I wouldn't just throw this away. But Tom had a different plan. And that plan was Raquel. So that is everything that he mentioned about Ariana on the podcast today. It's a sad, sad tale that he, says he cares about her, but in the end, really didn't care enough to tell her the truth and be honest. It seems like he beat around the bush for maybe several years around the fact that he was not happy and he just didn't break it off. Even though she gave him those ultimatums, I still think that honesty in this situation is the best policy, as in every situation. So he should have been upfront with her from the get-go, especially after the affair began, and broke it off before it was too late. Let me know your thoughts on Tom's plethora of excuses in the comments below. Stay tuned for part 2. Tom revealed how the affair with Raquel started and where their relationship stands, so I am going to get into that all soon.